I'm Haley, or at Crown the Halls on Instagram, and I'm thrilled to welcome you back and with today's guest. She has a leading Hallmark podcast, Dear Hallmark. She is one of the original Hallmark Channel fan leaders, and in my opinion, she is the voice of Hallmark fans, thinking the inner thoughts we all have with the sweet and sassy narrative on all of our favorite Hallmark Channel films. Please welcome Dara!
Thank you so much for having me.
So what is your Hallmark love story? Or what is it about the brand or channel that you came to love or connect with most?
Yes, so I remember my earliest memories of Hallmark movies started with my mother. I would always watch the Christmas movies with her. And there was something so magical about the Christmas movies that as I became more so a professional adult working in corporate America, a way for me to escape were to watch these movies. And I couldn't watch them. I was still living with my dad and my sister at the time. And so I couldn't watch them on our main television because they just was not here for it. And they would give their commentary is awful. They would just make cheesy noises at all the movies. And I'm like, I don't need that negativity in my life. So I'm watching everything on my laptop, and I would purchase all the movies on Amazon because I didn't know about Hallmark Movies Now, which is now Hallmark Plus, at the time. And so in 2020, because of the pandemic, I was able to watch them more because I had so much time on my hands. And it just further kind of cemented my love for just the feeling of escape. Like I enjoy the comfort. And they feel like a really big hug. Mostly especially when I watch the seasonally appropriate movies, like if it's a Valentine's movie during Valentine's Day or a winter movie during the winter, it's just something about that makes me feel special as a person. I don't know that I'm able to experience this beautiful piece of film. But I also just appreciate that the brand is wanting to create movies that provide this sort of feeling for the viewers. So.
I couldn't have said it better. It really is a big hug and just makes you feel all warm and fuzzy and loved. And it's where love happens. So that said, your consumption of the various Hallmark movies obviously led you to be an expert in the field, so much so that you started your own podcast, Dear Hallmark. What was it about wanting to share those ideas with other people that inspired you to start that? What's your journey been like, and what inspires you to keep it growing?
Let me tell you something, Haley. I was not planning to do a podcast. I was only planning to stay on YouTube. My plan was to watch a movie, record my reaction, throw it up on there, and see who else liked Hallmark movies like I did. Because again, my family sucks. They don't like Hallmark movies. I love y'all. They're not even gonna watch this, so I'm not even gonna put a retraction out there. So I was doing the reviews I started October 2020. Fast forward to July 2021. My Instagram just starts blowing up. And I'm like, what's going on? Nobody knows who I am. Why am I getting all of these followers all of a sudden? And then someone DMs me and was like, so cool for Tyler sharing you. And I was like, what are you talking about? He has I didn't know at this point Hallmark actors had Instagrams. I was so ignorant and naive of the whole social media aspect of Hallmark in general. And so I put his name in the search engine, and sure enough, there I am on his stories. He shared my review of It Was Always You. And so then people began to DM me and follow me and comment and ask about my opinions on all these different Hallmark movies. Some I have seen at that time, some I did not. And this was 2021. And so I took a lot of my time, got Hallmark Movies Now, watched a bunch of movies, and I said, well, how am I going to give people my review of these movies with this YouTube channel? And so I said, I'm going to have the YouTube channel be for all the new release movies, and then I'll have a podcast that can be just a space for me to talk about all of the older Hallmark movies. And I have been podcasting at this point for 3 years, but on something else. And then people were like, but I want you to review the new releases too, because I listen to podcasts more than YouTube. And so that's how the podcast became me covering current Hallmark movies as well. So really, I stumbled and tripped into it, Haley. It wasn't my plan. I didn't set out to do it, but as I do it, because clearly you can see I love talking. Clearly you can see I love connecting with people, and I love Hallmark movies. And so that I think that's what inspires me the most to keep going. I appreciate the engagement that I get on YouTube and social media and the reviews that I received on my podcast. And it's really inspiring, especially for me as a Black woman. There's not many of us in this space that are represented as women who do consume Hallmark movies as well. And so I'm just really honored that people rock with my my reviews and they genuinely want to know. And I've had people say like, yo, I wasn't going to watch this movie, but I listened to your review and now I'm going to watch it. And I'm like, that still freaks me out sometimes, but I'm just super grateful that I'm able to be in this space and really connect with people over these Hallmark movies, all because I just like to talk. So.
Hey, you have a talent and there's a demand, so why not make it happen? And as I've said before, I think you are the voice of the Hallmark Channel fans. And speaking of voices, you've had the chance to interview many of the top Hallmark stars, as well as many of the top people behind the scenes. Can you spill a little tea for us, or do you have any fun behind the scenes memories or stories or even funny fumbles from your interviews?
I don't have a favorite guest, but I think this was 2023 or 2022. I did kind of a podcast series called the Dear Hallmark Masterclass, where I interviewed a lot of people behind the camera. So I interviewed a costume designer, a set photographer, a director, a writer, a production designer. And I think those interviews for me were the most rewarding in the sense that I was able to gain so much insight into how these movies were made. And before I would think like, do I want to know how the sausage is made? And I think once I stepped my toe into it and really got to unlock people's passion for it and how it all connects to one of my favorite words of life, which is storytelling, like how everyone contributes to this one thing and they're able to collaborate all for this one vision. I think it's something so beautiful. And so I would say that that package is probably my favorite thing that I've done. And I'm appreciative that I was able to talk to those people.
And speaking of all things that make Hallmark wonderful, you were actually chosen as one of the Hallmark Channel fan leaders, and you got to partake in some really cool opportunities and events. Can you share a little bit about your experiences and what you got most out of that opportunity?
That was not on my bingo card at all. I was selected as a finalist in the #1 fan contest, and it was me and 7 other people who were finalists that they made fan leaders, which is just their term for like brand ambassador. And so they still chose their #1 fan officer, which is our girl Jenny, and she rocked it. And so for us fan leaders, they brought us out to LA and we got to see not studios, but the corporate headquarters for Hallmark Media. And it was wild. I had never been to LA before. So that was crazy that my first time ever going to LA was for that reason. And getting to see yet again, another instance of how the sausage is made. Really just like a pinball machine. My brain was just going, all of the lights. It was a really surreal experience. And through that, I also was selected to do their Merry Thanksgiving weekend along with Jenny and Molly, which was a trip. And then during my tenure as a fan leader too, just kind of focusing on social media in terms of pumping out the movies, which is basically what I was already doing. But I was so grateful that I got to partner with Hallmark in the sense that they would send me products that I could then give away to people who followed me or listened to my podcast or watched me on YouTube. So I was grateful that with me being a fan leader, I was able to do that.
And that brings us to our final segment, which I call a little crown to crown, which is simply a rapid fire response. I give you a topic and you are going to give me the first answer that comes to mind. Something simple to start with. Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
If you were to star in a Hallmark movie, who would be your dream co-star?
Oh, Jamie Calica. He was in Christmas with a Kiss, which was Hallmark Mahogany's Christmas movie of 2023. And I feel like he is severely underutilized. So any opportunity for him to be a leading man, I'm there.
If you could raid the closet of any Hallmark star, who would it be?
Lacey J. Maley. I don't know if this is how she dresses in real life, but the wardrobe she had in The Perfect Setting was me to a T. And she looked so, like, that looked like what she would wear in her normal life. So I'm going to just assume that is and say Lacey J. Maley.
Who is a podcast guest on your bucket list that you have not interviewed yet?
Ooh, rapid fire. So I'm going to say BJ Brett.
If you could rewrite the ending of any Hallmark movie, adding a special twist, or maybe the love connection doesn't happen, which movie would it be and what would you change it to?
Let me just pick a movie first. Let's do A Picture of Her. I don't know why that came to my head, but that's the one we're going with. So let's say there is a twist at the end where he doesn't come to her because he ends up coming to her city, but she ends up going back to LA and giving it another try. I'll do that.
What is one Hallmark movie moment that you would love to experience in real life?
I'm trying to think. Oh, Unthinkably Good Things was shot in Tuscany, and the house that they shot in, my goodness. I want to be in that house, Haley. That house is fantastic. So, and just being there with my good friends, that's the dream right there.
And lastly, a favorite charity or organization that you'd like to give a special shout out to that holds a special place in your heart.
I would say Habitat for Humanity. No, I don't know how many people know this, but I got my master's in interior architecture. So I really do enjoy the built environment, and I think it's important for everyone, no matter what walk of life they have, to have a place to have shelter, to have a place to live. And so I would say, also too, Samaritan's Purse. I think they are an incredible organization who raise money for any type of global instances. So water in Michigan, or if there's food in villages in Africa, they're very much on the pulse of global needs. And so I would say Habitat for Humanity and Samaritan's Purse.
And that wraps us up. Thank you again so much for your time today. I am truly honored to connect with such a prestigious fellow Hallmark fan. Before we go, can you please tell everybody where they can find and follow you so they can keep up with all things Dara and Dear Hallmark?
Absolutely. So Dear Hallmark is on Instagram at Dear Hallmark, DEAR Hallmark. And then also I'm on YouTube at the same name, Dear Hallmark. And you can find my podcast, Dear Hallmark, wherever your ear takes in podcasts.
Go.
Thank you everybody for joining us for this episode. We have so many incredible guests coming in the next few weeks, so please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow me at Crown the Halls on Instagram. And until next time, wear your crown. Your crown may tilt, may it never fall, but you are beautiful and you are strong.